Well,
Yeah.
check, check.
Well, hello, NYC. I'm back in the bosom of my birthplace. I am Nigel Wright.
This is Luc Jodet.
And Jonas Hudson, how you doing?
And we're going to talk to you about brand-fueled NFTs today. All right, so we wanted to make this as an interactive conversation as possible. So we're going to kind of go through a little bit of history, and then we're going to work through taking as much audience participation and interactive dialogue as possible. So I'm going to just jump right into it, and we'll get to the other stuff as we move along. So as you think about terms in the NFT space, you think about brands, you think about community, you think about access, you think about utility, and you hear all these words. But what does it mean to the average person, not the super techies or the folks that are in the marketing space? What does it actually mean to them? And one of the things that I keep things very practical, and one of the things that I really wanted to convey today is to have some real practical examples, some real use cases, and allow people to really experience what it's like when you're on the other side, past all the noise. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to turn to Luc, and he's going to talk about just what he sees in his space, in the high-end, luxury brands, in terms of what was before NFTs, what is currently in the NFT space, and what he sees in the future. And then I will turn to Jonas, and he'll do the same. And then we'll continue the conversation from there. So, Luc?
Thank you, Nigel. So Ariani, we started the project 4 years ago, and the idea was really to create tools around NFTs for luxury brands, for them to enhance their experience with their customers. And so we work today with major brands like AP, Breitling, Bash. We work with Montblanc and plenty of different smaller brands as well. To really, the first key product that we had with them was to replace the certificate of authenticity, a little piece of paper that comes with your high-end product that says this is a real product, by an NFT. That was kind of like your digital twin for your product. And this digital twin really enabled them to create to create a touch point with their customers and to increase the amount of information that could actually be attached to this product over time. The main way they see NFTs is really a way for them to create new experiences for their customers along their physical products. As I said, it was ultimately at the beginning really replacing just this little piece of paper. Now more and more it's seen as a way to actually produce brand new experiences that even that piece of paper could not create in the first place. So what we're talking about is, for instance, Breitling has actually put in place a system where when you have your NFT that comes with your product, if you need to go through their warranty program, they introduced the idea that instead of putting your personal information, email, password, and giving out all those personal information, you actually just need to sign a cryptographic proof with your wallet that has this NFT that proves that you actually are the owner of a Breitling NFT, and go through the entire system without giving any personal information. It's something that they like to call like anonymous clienteling, or what they say is like discretion has always been really important for the luxury experience, and they want to recreate that online. So they really see the NFT as a way to enable those kind of experiences that are discreet and anonymous.
So we attack the market from maybe a different angle, similar and different in the fact that we're using the same technology. But the brands we work with are your everyday brands that you'll find in a grocery store. So we work with the grocers and the Pepsis and Cokes and Heinekens and you name it. The reason why brands look at the NFTs differently with us is because we remove the word blockchain, crypto, NFT, etc. from the user experience. We actually tie the phone number as the unique public and private passkey code, if you will, and literally deliver assets to their phone number is the best way to explain it. And the goal is simple. The brands can't have a hard time being bothered by the technology. They simply want to give away an asset. So we looked at NFTs initially, back in 2017, as things like coupons and rebates. They're completely tied, they're unique in the same way as an NFT would be, but they do three things. They remove fraud. There's a big feature film from Lionsgate coming out called Queen Pins about fraud, so you'll laugh when you see that and tie this together. It allows the brand to actually stop a coupon in its tracks, so if they've got $1 million budget, they can't go over. They can simply remove the coupons and the assets from the wallets once it hits $1 million. And then, in my opinion, one of the most important things is the unbanked or the underbanked. Beer companies specifically was what gave us this idea back in the day, was look at instant redeemable rebates are not legal in California. So if you buy a 12-pack of beer and they want to give you $3 back, how do you give it to the unbanked or the underbanked? Our solution was an NFT that can be used back at the grocery store. And so we were just looking at ways to take brands fueling NFTs through the simplest distribution possible.
Good.
Oh, actually, I just have a follow-up question for you, Jonah, on this. You say like brands don't want to talk about NFTs. We actually had the same issue for the longest time since the beginning. Even at the beginning, when we started late 2017, everybody wanted to talk to us because we're doing blockchain. Then a year and a half ago, I did a big presentation for a board of a luxury brand that actually at the end, the CEO said, "Oh, thank you very much for everything you told us. Just Luc, you should stop talking about blockchain. Blockchain is 2018, it's over, nobody cares about blockchain anymore." However, now for the last 9 months, basically, I have a bunch of those same brands coming back and being, "Oh, by the way, do you do NFTs?" And it's like, yeah, you've been doing NFTs with us. It's just we've been hiding this behind an entire thing. But now NFTs all of a sudden are becoming something desirable. I'm sure if I go back to this guy, he'll tell me, yeah, I definitely want NFTs, but like none of that blockchain BS that you were talking about. So do you see the same change, or?
Yeah, well, yes and no. I mean, this, and by the way, real quick, an offer, a rebate, or reward can be a traditional cool NFT that everyone's showing off around here. So when we delivered NFTs with Heineken, we used their assets that they traditionally licensed. But when we told them back in the day, yeah, we're going to do blockchain NFTs, they're like, so we just signed the contract and said, we'll move on. Now they are looking at it going, wait a minute. This is what you were talking about. And we're like, yeah, we've not only been talking about it, we've been doing it with you almost every week for the last 3 years. So we are sitting in a moment in time where we've kind of skipped over all the hard part for the grocer world and the brand world there. But now they're still tripping because NFTs sometimes have interesting stigmas depending on who you're working with. So.
Well, that's perfect. The one thing that one of the many things I love with meeting these gentlemen and working with them is they talked very much about the practical aspects of NFTs, in which I'm really focused on. So now I want to go to some rapid fire questions, and then we'll get to more of interactive. So I'm going to start with you, Luc. What do you see working right now in the luxury space? What's working? What's not working? And what do you think the future holds, or what do you see that maybe other people don't see that people can take advantage of, regardless of whether they're in the luxury space or the everyday market?
Yeah, so what works with us and different brands we're working with is really this idea of creating like a VIP club or a proof of being part of this brand, and then people actually that's usually why people buy a luxury brand or a brand that they like, is honestly for the quality of the product has to do with it a little bit, but a big part is they want to own a piece of that brand. They want to be part of this experience. And so the main thing that today those different brands that we're working with are working on is how to create VIP clubs around NFTs, how to create like loyalty programs around NFTs, how to create like exclusive drops of products that are verified that you can only have access if you have NFTs. That's definitely something that's working that people want to see and are building. Of course, one thing that we start seeing in the pure crypto side and that brands are interested in is this idea of the metaverse and being able to wear your products in those metaverses.
Right.
I think we're still quite early. We've done a few experiments with, Decentraland. We're doing an experiment with OVR, which is a augmented reality platform, and we've actually made some sales of, purely digital wearables in Decentraland with a small brand called Agent 33. However, it's still quite early, and I'm seeing this work in the future. But it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years in the future, probably. What doesn't work, to answer your final question, I think is a lot of those kind of not genuine or not really well thought NFT drops that some brands have done. I won't give any names here, but they just dropped an NFT on OpenSea, Rarible, and then just expect that people will just ape into it and they'll make a bunch of money. This, I haven't seen anybody for who it worked. There are a few brands that actually did a really good job at trying to really build a great sale, like Dolce & Gabbana, even though we were not working with them, actually did a really good job, I think, for this. But there's plenty of other brands that did pretty terrible on this because there was no real thought process in those NFT drops.
So your thought is really, you just think it out if you're going to do it.
If you're going to do it, you have to actually be fully committed. It's like you shouldn't actually just go for, oh, you know what, this is something that everybody's doing and we have to do it as well. Yeah.
Gotcha.
So a note on that, when I used to work in the studios, I used to work at Warner Brothers, and I'll never forget, we were doing Harry Potter, and a grocery chain wanted to do a program with us, a marketing program, and somebody in our group said, yeah, that grocery chain doesn't fit the Harry Potter brand, and I almost threw up. I'm like, they're eating food, and we want their money to buy our movie tickets. Trust me, they fit our brand. What I've seen in the last, well, since the dawn of hip-hop has done a great job of taking luxury to the masses. And the masses have accepted it, and the luxury brands have said, wait, this is working out nicely. So kind of what's interesting about tying what you just said here is you can create loyalty through very simple executions, like buy $20 of groceries in each week will give you, small ownership in a Dolce & Gabbana bag or whatever it is. These little, but those type of quote unquote out of the box models work because at the end of the day, if you've got no money, but you have a chance to engage and be part of culture, of the culture that you've aspired to be or that you maybe want a piece of, by doing your day-to-day activities and being able to get a piece of it, couldn't have existed before blockchain. So now, and it's funny because we've been speaking the last couple nights, and we've been realizing that Dolce & Gabbana and cornflakes really have the same value if you do it the right way, and if you integrate NFTs and co-ownership and all this other fun stuff.
Well, I'm going to just add to that. There was something that Jody Rich had said when he said there's too much duplication and not enough collaboration, and that's something that I strongly believe in, just all across the board, whether it's NFTs or not. And one of the things we were talking about is, I see a lot of these social impact NFTs. Look at this NFT; it's a cute picture, and and no knock on it, But I just didn't get the feeling like the fully committed, what Luc was saying, but I do see things in real life. So for instance, when I think about the extremes, with the everyday and the high-end luxury, what could really connect it to? I don't see a Breitling and a McDonald's, on its face. But I do see a Breitling and a Ronald McDonald House as a social impact project that can have meaning, that can have profit and practicality in terms of, you think about a auction. A charity auction, people will overpay for things because it's to support their charity. And, to quote Gabe Viggers, who's the youngest speaker at NFT.NYC, he was talking about the fact that, younger people with so many gamers, we will pay for things that don't necessarily have this immediate value because we want them. And that, to me, is a huge part of what goes on and where the opportunities really lie. And I think it's wide open. Like you said, Luc, it's very, very early. But with that, I wanted to give Luc a chance to talk about just what he does quickly and give everybody a chance to connect with him, because I'm a big proponent of community. And I think the best thing that could come out of this conversation is that I connect with each and every one of you. Luc connects, and Jonas connect with each and every one of you that want to connect. And we can continue these same conversations in more than the 25 minutes we have. So, Luc?
So absolutely. So to touch on your point on collaboration, I mean, I definitely think the beauty of the Web3 space or blockchain space is this idea of composability. It's the fact that what I'm building, what you're building, what everybody's building can actually interact. And here we have different aspects actually I found fascinating and that I'd like to explore. Still think we're probably a bit early, but this idea of NFT x DeFi, like how we can actually use NFTs as valuable products as collateral. if you take a brand like Patek Philippe, or even they have this brand that or this ad that they like to actually that says you never truly own a Patek Philippe, you merely hold it for the next generation. And so there's always been this idea of the product being a reserve of value. And so how can we actually use what we're doing, which is creating digital twins for those products, and incorporate into protocols like Aave, Compound, or MakerDAO to actually use, really create this, use those products as a reserve of value and take a collateralized loan. To me, those are the kind of things that I find fascinating with the kind of NFTs we're building, and why I, as you said, I'm extremely interested in not duplication, but how we work and create new things together. So
perfect. And how would anyone get in contact? What would be the best way to contact you?
Twitter is good, at Luc Jodet. We also, of course, have email, LinkedIn, and all those traditional things. We do have Discord if you'd like, but yeah, Twitter is probably the best way to get in touch with me.
Okay. And
What's funny, you talked about DeFi. So we started the business with the same mindset of DeFi, but for the unbanked. And everyone talks about the unbanked as obviously a big problem. But we were able to look at, what does everybody do? They eat food. So if you can take that experience and turn it into value and let that value be exchanged. So for example, a shopper might purchase, these are real executions, $100 in Unilever product over 2 weeks' time, and they get and unlock 2 concert tickets to go see a concert. Certain cultures value a budget for food, and they have value a budget for entertainment, and so on and so forth. And in that particular case, that was a no-brainer. We were able to merge the two. But as blockchain has come in, we now can then send those assets to different locations. And so we tested this with a simple act of buying, again, a Heineken product. It unlocked tokens that you can use for movies or for more food, and so on and so forth. But the bigger picture, of course, is extending it. I'll just give you the quick one. I'm from Los Angeles. It's very, very, very Hispanic focused. You've got a wonderful immigrant population, and so you'll have maybe a woman in Compton, California, who has an aunt in Mexico City. And if that woman is enticed to go shop at a certain grocery store and say, hey, when you buy products here, you might be earning enough value to unlock a refrigerator at Walmart in Mexico City. That is what the NFT and blockchain world has changed. And so it's interesting you said, using collateral like for DeFi, in this case, the collateral is shopping. So it's putting the two together. And by the way, the shopper in Compton, California, who may never be able to afford that watch, might be able to start to earn points to get shares of it. And if there's value exchanged, maybe it sells down the road. You're unlocking financial change, really.
perfect. And how would what's the best way for folks to get in contact with you? Because we don't have enough time to get into it, but he has
Twitter,
really cool stuff.
Twitter, Jonas Hudson's my handle, but GFT.exchange, you can find information there.
Okay. So again, I'm at Nigel Wright pretty much everywhere, but if you want to if you want to get in touch with me directly, if you go to nigel.chat, there's a big red button there, you click it, international number, doesn't matter, you're going to connect with me, and we're going to continue our conversations, and we hope to get some Q&As in so that we can again, continue this dialogue. So with that, we have a reasonable amount of time, but I'd like to get some real life questions from the people in the audience, make this a little bit more interactive. Please feel free, utilize these gentlemen. I can speak that I have plenty of questions that I'm going to get to ask them, but ask your questions. If you have brands, what can you do? So just go ahead. Did I see a hand up? Okay.
What's up? I'm Samir from Charlotte, North Carolina.
Okay.
I'm a brand architect and I print t-shirts. My question is about because you guys are talking about physical products and using NFTs kind of on the back end. What about people that, because there's such a global community, how do we how do we connect? I feel like brands are having difficulty connecting NFTs the reverse way, not starting with a physical product, but a completely anonymous community, you know what I mean, where people, may not
So one thing we've actually seen, so I have my Bored Ape up there, and I think that's one of the things that I found fascinating with that community is that they've managed to create a luxury brand, basically. It's like the supreme of crypto, and we are really starting. It's not massive yet, but we're starting to have actually brands being like, how do I touch this community, and how do I actually collaborate with a Bored Ape, or with the Yuga Labs, or with Larva Labs for CryptoPunks, and so there are some definitely it's raised some interest from luxury brands. For good and bad reasons. I mean, of course, they see like there's a lot of money in there. I mean, people spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on NFTs, but also because they see a public that they don't touch yet. We work actually with a lot of luxury watches where the average age is probably like 50 years old of the average owner of a luxury watch. And they're saying, how do we actually interest those people? And one thing that actually one brand came, it's like, I see all those people buying those Apple Watches and putting their, I see that on Twitter, and putting their Bored Ape or their CryptoPunk and saying this is worth more than a Patek Philippe. It's like, how do we actually kind of merge those two worlds? Because it's a similar thing that you want with a luxury watch. I mean, you are actually trying to connect to something important and to flex to a certain extent, but also to connect with a certain community. And so we're starting to see it. I think it's kind of, the last 6 months have been intense for everybody, and especially all the people that, a year ago told me blockchain was not something that I should keep on talking about. So it's coming, but we're not quite there yet.
So it's interesting. It's the reverse Disney model. So Disney owns their IP, and then they go license it down. Bored Ape and CryptoKitties in their contracts allow you to make product from their asset, and then they take a little piece. So I think Bored Ape someone's doing a beer, someone's doing this, that, or the other. So I think that the next generation of product is going to start from localized content, like you just said. And a great example, I'll go back to grocery stores, is the word branding is going to go away. Like the idea of a big sign says, drink Coca-Cola, is a waste of time. It's a waste of space. It's like, well, where do I drink Coca-Cola? What do I buy? What do I get? Et cetera. So the local grocery stores, for example, are looking at locally fed product, stuff that's from the streets, from the local areas, and so on and so forth. So I can see NFT brands coming in and building a mini local community and then driving product from that. And it's already happening. I know a brewer down in my neck of the woods who they are literally going to create an NFT series and build a beer off of that and then push it out. So that's just maybe one example of taking NFT brand and pushing it to physical product.
Yeah, I'm going to just say real quick, and then we'll take one more. I think it's really to start with community in the truest sense of the word. I think if you give someone a token, it accesses the community. I mean, even what we're talking about here. I think you connect with us and we continue to have these dialogues, you're going to have the access to have these further conversations. I think once you deliver that value, then you can start to talk about whatever it is you have to put out there, whether it's a piece of clothing and you can give discounts and whatever the case may be and make the token valuable that way. So let's take one more. We have about a minute, so anybody else? Okay, go ahead.
I go by Angel. I just had a quick question, like talking about IP as well as how Bored Ape is kind of letting the holders essentially go out and build things, and then brands outside of different places will then collaborate with those holders of those tokens to license that IP for those products or services they end up coming out. One of the questions I had is, what if those holders end up doing something nefarious with the Bored Ape, right? And my question is, how does that affect like the overall brand of Bored Ape? Does that make more brands scared of the overall ecosystem of what Bored Ape has in store, or is it specifically with that one name?
I mean, I can answer that real briefly. In the smart contract that the creators have, they should have the same rule sets. IP cannot be used for drugs and porn and all the nefarious activities. And then you can have those takedown notices. But the reverse model I love, because most artists at home that are fantastic, that are building NFTs, they're not going to build a beer, they're not going to build a truck, they're not going to build a ship. So if they let everyone else do it off of their brand and they're taking pieces of it, then it's like lifting all lifting everything at that point.
I mean, of course, brand IP is always a risk. This being said, you already have people, customizing Nikes and sneakers, and then there is, to a certain aspect, to a certain extent, you can actually then go after those people and try to get those things taken down if it violates, as you said, like the rules could be like you have full IP except for those different applications. So that could be put in place because you're correct. It could actually hurt the Bored Ape brand. Yeah. But here, that's where the blockchain can go so far, and the legal aspect, the legal world still has some good days ahead of it.
Hey, thank you so much, everyone. That's our time. We're a little bit over, but we appreciate you staying with us.
Thanks, all.
Have a great time at NFT.NYC.
Yep.